And it was just the chemo doctor really that saved my life, I think, with that. He says, you've got to fight it. I can do my job, but you've got beyond your job, you've got to fight it.
He gave you a certain encouragement to do your best.
Definitely, yeah.
And did that rub off on you?
Yeah, it was the first time I'd actually heard anything. And he said it in a bluntly, but in such a nice way, if there is such a way to tell you. You know,
what did you...
I know what sort of person you are.
Yeah.
You've had a scan, don't want to know, and then it's good. You don't want to know the result, no. And then 5 minutes later, well, were it good? I knew what sort of person you are. Now I know what I'm dealing with, and then he just changed. He said, you've got to come out fighting. You've got to lose the negativity and think positive.
And were you able to do that?
Yeah, I think it was the first time it actually sunk in, because it had been going on since October. This was in December, and he says, I'm going to give you the best chance I can.
Yeah. So he was working with you. You know, he knew how to kind of ally, professionally speaking. Yeah. So what was your attitude that changed then at that point?
I think his positivity and the fact that for the first time you're realising what somebody's saying to you, and he took time to sort of explain something, and he made it light-hearted. Not light-hearted, but I know what sort of person you are. You want to know certain things, you don't want to know everything. Yeah, that is me. And the fact that you just think, well, I've got my granddaughter, and I want to see her go to school. You know what I mean? I want to see, you know, eventually grow up. I'd like to see her get married. Let's hope I'm here to see that. I just think, you know, I'm so lucky to have such a good family.
Definitely.
You know, I know you take it out, people like me and my son, we argue, but I think it's because he's there and he gets worried, because we have had so many people, lost so many people with cancer. I think that's another downfall as well. You know what I mean?
You were telling Heather earlier about your family history.
Yeah.
Who has had cancer in the family, and how has it affected them?
My sister's had breast cancer, and she's got over it. My cousin's had breast cancer and got over it. But then we lost 9 people in 8 years with cancer, different forms of cancer. Obviously, you know, my mum had fought leukemia for 17 years. So cancer, you know, it's the word, isn't it? Let's be about right. They can tell you you've got anything. I think even if they said you've got to have your arm chopped off, they tell you you've got cancer. That's one word you don't want to hear. You just don't want to hear that word. It's
the most scared condition.
Yeah. If you could change the name, it'd probably be all right, but you're not going to. So, you know, but like when you think to yourself, you've got to. Something just comes on your head, and you think, yeah, I've got to think positive about this. And like I say, everybody in my family. I mean, like I've got 3 sisters and a brother, and I'm the youngest. I mean, my brother's 70, and as I was poorly, he was really ill as well. And he kept phoning me up, "Are you all right, our kid? Don't call me our kid. Anything but our kid. I'm fine." My sister-in-law would say, you know, and then I'd ring him up, "Is our kid all right?" My sister-in-law would go, "Yeah, he's fine. How are you?" But I'm more interested in somebody else.
I was going to ask you actually whether you'd had the chance to meet any other patients who'd gone through the system at the same time as you.
Yes, I did.
And how did you find that experience?
Very eye-opening. I was there with a nice lady. I'm sure it was Debbie. And she Texas, and she was a lot younger than me. She got little children. And she'd done an article in a magazine, and she's been on telly. And I was feeling sorry for myself the first time I went for chemo. Hands up, I'd been there since 8 o'clock. And we just happened to sit next to each other. And obviously you get talking, and then next time we were sitting next to each other, so more of the story comes out, doesn't it? And when I heard her story, mine was just totally nothing. I thought, you big baby. She has got 3 children.